What if I told you you could connect any API to Tableau in just a few minutes, automatically collect hundreds of records, and do it all in a secure environment? Today, I'm going to show you a professional way to build an API connection in Tableau using environment variables and analytics table extensions. And this isn't just a quick hack, this is a production-ready code that you'll be able to use confidently on GitHub and without having to share any personal API keys. So here's what we're going to be building. It's a complete job market analysis dashboard. The data set has over 120 job listings. In the original data set, the geographic data is in a single field. And when you look closer at the script, you'll notice that it actually parses the data into region, I believe, state, and city. So a little bit of cleanup is actually done in the Python script alone. So minimizing the amount of effort that you would have to do. If you take a look at the dashboard, you'll see the final product. It is dynamic. This is using map layers. You could experiment further with a copy of the dashboard that I'll provide. So as you'll see, the information here is dynamic. You click on each state, shows the amount of jobs with Tableau referenced in any given state, as well as a specific city. See, this is broken down by company, level of experience based on the job description, the number of postings or the amount of postings based on the website. And much of the categories that you see here, this was done through grouping and other techniques. And you can take a look at the calculated fields in the dashboard if you're curious about that. So taking a closer look at GitHub files that are provided, you'll see, you can see there's an extensive README file that provides not only step-by-step instructions, but it gives you some strategies for troubleshooting. For those that are just getting into Python, the level of detail there should be enough to not only help you get started, but provide a little bit of background as to what some of those steps implied and why particular items might be used in your code. One thing that's different perhaps from this script and some of the others you may use, rather than hard coding the API key in the script itself, we're going to be using a configuration file as well as an environment file, env file. And the instructions on how to pull up the template env file are in the README file. It'll give you all the steps necessary in order to pull that out. But the nice thing about that is you can store your credentials locally on your computer without having to hard code them in the script. So that way, when you share them amongst colleagues, or if you were to share them on GitHub, there's no worry there that your keys are going to be compromised. So that works great in something like VS Code. And you'll notice when we get to the section on Tableau, there is a specific script to Tableau. Rather than putting the API key in the script, we're going to be including the API key through the terminal, the command line. Again, the README file walks you through step by step of some of the specific requirements that'll be necessary. This is also on GitHub, so again, trying to make this as easy as possible for you to be able to try this on your own. And I mentioned the environment file. There's a template that you can use, and there's a copy here. Notice that I did not put the job API key, so when you go on, if you want to use the Jubal site, here's the URL that you can use in order to find a key. You'll need to subscribe in order to get that key, and what you'll need to do, you'll take this template, go ahead and save it to your local machine, and replace this information here with your API key. Once you've done that, go ahead and save it as .env file, follow the script that's provided, and that should give you everything that you need to get started. Most of us are familiar with using Excel files or other flat files as your data source. But of course, the downside with that is anytime there's a change to your data, you're going to have to go ahead and refresh your dashboard every time. And if you publish your dashboard on, say, Tableau Server or Tableau Cloud, this becomes problematic. Of course, you've got version control issues. The information is static. It's not dynamic. And what the table extension is going to allow you to do, it's going to allow you to, using the REST API, to tap into that data and allow it to automatically refresh using the Python code. What the API is going to allow you to do is, using the script that we provide, it's going to allow you to take that data source and automatically refresh, freeing up your time to be put to better purposes. The first script we're going to look at is used for testing purposes. You can see here I'm using VS Code in order to run my script. You'll notice quite a bit of comments to not only walk you through how to run the script, but also background as to why particular lines of code were used. This is helpful for especially those who are just getting started with using Python and table extensions. One thing I want to point out that is, if you're going to be using an environment file as well as configuration, in other words, storing your API code outside of the script, you're going to want to make sure that you don't forget to have this line here. You want to make sure that you've got that .env library included as well. What this is going to allow you to do is to load your API credentials into the script, and the configuration file is going to allow you to bring in any of those adjustments to the variables in your environment. So for example, in our case, we limited the number of records to 120. We limited our search to just those job descriptions that include the word Tableau. I believe we also just limited those results to just the US. So you could change those parameters. You could do it by hard coding your script. Go ahead and changing the values in here. However, this setup allows you to make those changes outside of your script, make those adjustments, and keeping the original script intact. A lot of advantages to doing it this way. You'll notice when you run the script, there's been a number of lines of code added to help you during testing. So if something goes wrong, there are some error messages here to give you a bit more background as to why those errors might happen, as well as some overall guidelines when you set up your script. So let's go ahead and give it a try. If things are successful, it should give you a prompt at the end. Right now, we can take a look. We can see that not only was it successful, it's given you, so here we are, success. It's given you an idea of what some of the sample jobs might be, letting you know exactly what columns have been produced as a result of your script. And of course, here we go. We can see error message, no errors. That's exactly what we want to see. So a script has been produced. We know just by testing that everything should look good. Now all we need to do is run our Tableau script, making sure that we include our API key as part of the environment. If you were successfully able to start TabPy, you should see that it's using a local host, in this case 9004. So if we see that, we know we're in good shape. So we've gone ahead and used an Excel file, just something to create a dummy table. What you'll see here, again, nothing more than 2 columns in order to give it a framework with which to work. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and pull that out. Now bring in your table extension. And again, you should see this over here, localhost 9004. So we know we are connected to TabPy. Now we can go ahead and pull in our script. Again, make sure that you're using the Tableau specific script, not the testing script. All right, so again, here we go. All right, so taking a look, again, I put some helpful notes at the bottom in case you forget. Here's your instructions, just like we walked through earlier. Now, you could put some additional parameters in the configuration file, but we've gone ahead and I just left it as is. I think our results are limited to just those folks who have Tableau in the job description and are in the US. We've limited our results to just 120 records. So go ahead and take your entire code, bringing it back into the Tableau desktop. Run apply. All right, so we can see the fields are being brought in. The city, state is being parsed, just like we expected from the script. Let's go ahead and update. We can see we've got our ID. We've got all the fields we're expecting to see. Pull into the sheet. The worksheet also shows them there as well. And if you want to take a look at the terminal, you can see exactly what was being run through our Python script. So bringing you back to the finished product, once again, your data sources refresh automatically using the script provided. Now again, we could have hard-coded our credentials in the script itself. We could have hard-coded our parameters. But one of the appeals to taking this approach is it allows you to share your code publicly. It helps prevent any accidental credential exposure. You can manage it across multiple environments. A lot of advantages here. So it's easy to update, easy to manage. All right, hope you find this helpful. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.